Today's fragrance is an obscure representation of true niche perfumery. Hello, welcome back to Seldomly Often. I'm Daniel. Today we're talking fragrances, and this is a practical review of Francesca Bianchi's The Lover's Tale. These reviews are for fragrances that have a lot of experiences, multiple uses in many situations, and are meant to give you a general idea of what it feels like to wear the fragrances. As per usual, I do a lot of research prior to buying any fragrances. That's just what I like to do. I'm a little bit obsessive. But I won't be covering notes and accords, specifically not in detail. I just don't feel that they represent much for the average user. Let's get right into this. Francesca Bianchi, The Lover's Tale. This one here represents true niche perfumery at its finest. Really artisanal and handmade. So this one here, starting from the packaging, it already shows its true nature. It came in with a white cardboard box. Really incredibly simple. Even the bottle itself is very homemade looking in a charming way. The cap is this incredibly simple plastic cap. The bottle is okay. I mean, I think it's pretty elegant. The labeling is weirdly attached. There's no like a clear coat over it, kind of like to make it seamless. It's just kind of like a paper label. I think it's charming. Again, it's great. It's true niche. It really feels like it's homemade, and I think she actually makes them at home. In a similar way, I have 5 fragrances from Andy Tower, and those are also homemade in a very charming way. I think this is great, and we should applaud this, and we should encourage more people to get into the niche perfumery. Similarly to Andy Tower, Francesca Bianchi kind of came out of nowhere with her brand, and it's a brand that revolves around a very specific concept. This concept is sexuality, carnality, and just the idea of bodies coming together. And sometimes it's about muskiness, sometimes it's sweat, but there's always this undertone of like human body and human odor. All her fragrances have a backbone of this kind of, it's a very specific scent profile that I would call musky and somewhat animalic. And the names of the fragrances also play into this. So Francesca Bianchi really like dove into head first into this marketing approach. And she jokes around with it. I mean, like a lot of it is marketing. But as we know, the marketing has a lot of it has a lot of impact on what we perceived in a fragrance. Just think about something from Nasomatto, like Sadonaso. It's like one of the most worst rated fragrances on Fragrantica, but it's actually not that bad. These are in a similar vein. So I have Under My Skin, which is the more popular one. And this one here is The Lover's Tale. So again, they're both sensual oriented. If you look at the website, if you look at the marketing campaign, they come with very graphic images, which are meant to tease and get people talking about the controversiality of it. Topping off the presentation, most of these bottles come in 30 milliliter. They are extracted parfum, so very potent. This one specifically is super potent. You can probably tell from the color of the liquid here. The Lover's Tale is a very difficult fragrance to describe and a very difficult fragrance to wear, in my opinion. It's fairly challenging, specifically in the opening. By the way, I forgot to mention the atomizer. It's pretty good considering the homemade feeling of the bottles. Let's give it a spray to remind myself. Yeah, it's a lot of juice coming out. Let's just give it another one. Yeah, a lot of juice coming out. Whoa. The opening is super challenging on this one here. Oh my God, kind of reminds me of something. So as I said, the opening is very challenging on this, straight up animalics. There's a lot of, in the notes description on Fragrantica. By the way, I love that a lot of these indie perfumers don't really get into notes specifically, but on Fragrantica there is a huge icon for Castoreum. And I'm not incredibly sensitive to animalics, but let me tell you, this one here, the way it opens, it's harsh. It's harsh in a way that it's really difficult to describe, because it's not your typical like pissy urine animalic. It's not fecal. It's just incredibly leathery and tart in a way. It's so difficult to describe. My God, it reminds me of my grandfather's elevator. Anyway, going back to that. So you get this like very leathery tartness in the beginning that overwhelms everything. And if you spray this right away and you meet someone, they're gonna be put off. I'm 100% sure. But if you give it those 10 minutes, what happens is this like animalic tartness goes down a little bit and it meshes with this floral sweetness that also there's like this floral honey gooey kind of like a syrupy sweetness. And this syrupy sweetness is, I say syrupy because it kind of reminds me of like maple syrup, like a smoky sweetness. And I think that there's Immortelle in here, and Immortelle can have that maple syrup vibe, but there's a lot of honey and florals. And the interesting thing is that this fragrance comes across as one wave of smell. It's really difficult to pinpoint things in it. I'm really reaching here. And the combination of this florals, and Francesca uses this, she uses a lot of like jasmine and orris root, and it's really, the way she uses it, it gives off this like skanky vibe. And that's that's way easier to pinpoint in under my skin. But in this one here, all these florals and this like strong honey, like sweet honey vibe, mixed with this like leather and animalics, it creates this scent that is incredibly difficult to, it's very unusual, first of all, and it's difficult to describe, and it catches people off guard. So that's why I said that this is a difficult scent to wear, because it's such a unique scent profile. I have nothing else that smells like this, nothing else remotely smells like this, that when people smell it, their attention is immediately grabbed. So it's not your typical like, even if you wear a very strong fragrance, like in the office, for example, if you wear something strong and citrusy or strong and floral, strong and sweet, yes, people might notice it, but they're gonna be, yeah, it's a fragrance. This one here is very strange. And it's just so strange that, again, it's like, what is that? What does it smell like? What is that smell? And you tend to interpret it in different ways according to where you are and what kind of memory this evokes. Again, to me, it's like my grandfather's elevator in his flat. And it's that. I don't know what from the elevator, and maybe it's the tapestry, like the people smoking. Obviously, my grandfather was in this building for a long time, and maybe people were smoking in the elevator at that time. But it has this like, it's like dirty carpet kind of smell to me. It just, yeah, it's like a dirty carpet that has been cleaned with some chemical. I know it sounds horrible, but it's actually really alluring. I really enjoy this. It's an incredibly potent fragrance. I wore this to work today, and I sprayed it in the morning. I sprayed one spray on my arm, because I'm not ballsy enough to wear 3 sprays of this yet. And I sprayed once on my arm and I left. And when I came back, the room I sprayed this in was still smelling like this. And now I sprayed 2. Oh, and by the way, I showered, but now I sprayed 2, so I'm gonna probably wake up tomorrow and be like, still with this. I can't, like as I say, this is kind of a commitment. The fragrance doesn't really change that much. I guess that in the mid, the animalics kind of calm down, and it becomes more normal. It becomes more of a normal scent. So you get more floral, you get this like sweetness coming in, but you still have this underlying of like leather that really works in a weird way with the sweetness. It's a very peculiar scent profile. in the deep dry down, you eventually lose the florals, and you kind of, the sweetness lingers, but it's mostly like leather again, and like this kind of like refined leather, like very oiled leather. And the animalics come back at that point. So it gets like this skin scent muskiness, like kind of like it really like blends in with your skin, and you get this like musky, I wouldn't say sweaty, but it's clearly like a musky human scent. Not in a bad way. Again, you have to be able to pull this off, otherwise you will pass as stinky. But it's a really interesting thing. So the sensuality part of this is, I think many people describe these fragrances from Francesca to be very carnal and very sexual, and they evoke feelings of like maybe like bodies together, bodies sweating, maybe bodies after sex. I don't really get it. Maybe because I sprayed it on me and I only smelt it off me, so I guess I'm used to my skin chemistry. I'm not really sure how this wears on someone else, but I don't really get that, and I do truly feel that a lot of the bias, especially in the frag column on the websites like Parfumo and Fragrantica, is due to the marketing. Is this an easy wear? Is this a scent for everyone? Or Francesca Bianchi's scents for everyone? I would say no, in a resounding way. So in a weird, strange way, I would say that these are almost blind buy worthy, just because of they are such a specific brand, and you can kind of identify where they're going with it through the website and through the reviews, that you know that if you buy this, you're not going to be wearing this every day. These are like situational fragrances to wear with people around you that understand fragrances, that understand that you're a frag head, and that they tolerate new smells. I blind bought this together with Under My Skin, and I was okay with not liking them. I just liked the idea. I wanted to support Francesca, and in general, I was just okay with having something different. And I'm actually super happy that this smells nothing like anything else that I have. So I mentioned the limited wearability of this, and just to go over the seasons is kind of silly for something like this, because I really wouldn't wear this often anyway. But the seasons for this is a really heavy scent. It's a really dense scent. It stays around for a long time. I don't know, I would probably not wear this in the summer, just because it has this weird sweet maple syrupiness that I can't see it work well in the heat. But anywhere else, by all means. This would probably make for a banger, like club scent, just because it's so weird and so different. You'd probably be easy to recognize. And in a clubby situation, people aren't really just analyzing. And again, it's not off-putting per se, it's just strange. All in all, if you're interested in different scents, if you're interested in trying something new, I really recommend you get your nose on these. This one specifically is highly recommended. I really like it. The other ones, I'll definitely be looking into other fragrances from Francesca Bianchi other than Under My Skin. I'm really curious right now. As usual, thanks for watching. I really appreciate all the support. It's super encouraging. Have you tried Francesca Bianchi? Are you interested in this kind of niche perfumery? For any opinion, comment, and any kind of interaction, you can find me down in the comments below. I'm happy to reply, and I'm happy to interact with you. Thanks again, and cheers.